Looking for a city near Salem, it's on the smaller side and has a load of charm? Well, today in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Silverton. And we'll be taking a look at the pros and the cons of living in Silverton. Hey, I'm Tyler Thomas with eXp Realty, and I'm a realtor here in the Willamette Valley of Oregon. When looking at these pros and cons of living in Silverton, this will hopefully help you make an informed decision on deciding if the city is right for you. You can go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more future information on Silverton and all the surrounding areas. So let's go ahead and get right to it. These are some of the pros and cons of living in Silverton. And we're going to start off with our first pro, and that is that Silverton is a desirable, pleasant, small town. As far as population goes, Silverton has just over 10,000 people. A lot of the people that end up in Silverton are those that want to be near Salem, but they want to be in a smaller town feel, along with having an area with a lot of activities. And I can definitely say that for a city of 10,000, Silverton doesn't act as size. The downtown area, however small, always seems like it's holding events. There's a lot of great shops, and the scenery is honestly really cool. You can go ahead and get some lunch and just take a view of the creek. Taking a stroll through the downtown area is always really cool. There always seems to be something with music. Also, there's always some sort of a stall somewhere selling something or some sort of a little festival happening. Also, took my kids over to Oregon Garden and then took our way over to Silver Creek Falls. And we went through downtown, and there was bands and music the entire stretch. I didn't even know there was something going on, but yeah, there was bands everywhere. It was pretty cool. There always seems like there's a lot of people downtown going ahead and hitting up the restaurants, the bars, and different boutiques and stuff that they have down there. And there are some pretty historic areas. The downtown area has some really great older buildings. It looks really nice. Everything's pretty well kept. And there's also a really cool old theater, being the Palace Theater. There's also a ton of murals in town. Kind of seems like wherever you go, you see one. You can just be walking down the street, turn a corner, and there's pretty much always going to be a mural, I feel like, just right there. And the second you enter town, you can kind of get that feel that they take a lot of pride in the city. Things are always pretty well kept. The downtown area is always gorgeous, I feel like. The parks are pretty awesome, also well kept. And Silverton very much is a artsy city. Whoever I talked to that moves into town really love the art scene, and they also have a big festival, the Fine Art Festival that they have every year. And now we're moving on to our second pro, and that is all the outdoor activities. And one of the biggest ones is Silver Creek Falls, that's just about 15 minutes away. The Silver Falls State Park has 5,000 acres to explore, and it has a really awesome trail, the Trail of 10 Falls. There's just over 7 miles with this trail, and they're adding different parts to it, so it's going to keep on, based on what I see, getting longer, which is awesome. The trail system has different access points, which I've always thought's really good. There's different parking lots and stuff where you can just get on the trail and begin different spots. It's considered a moderate hike with an elevation change of 800 feet. You got things like a playground, you've got a little lake area for swimming, you've also got barbecue stalls, so you can go ahead and have a great lunch. You've also got some really cool little cabins, so you can go ahead, hit those up for some great food and merchandise. That said, there is 10 waterfalls in the park, and it's really cool because 4 of them you can actually walk behind. This is one of my favorite places to visit in the entire state. I also got a chance to finally take my kids up there. We walked the South Falls, which is a pretty easy little loop to do. They walked behind the waterfall and were pretty much in awe the entire time. And another awesome thing right in town is the Oregon Garden. It's an amazing garden right in Silverton, and it has 80 acres total in size, with different little areas, and it is awesome. I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed to delight guests between its pet-friendly sections as well as its children's garden. It was a huge hit with my kids, so don't be afraid of taking your kids to a big garden because they loved it, and we made 2 different trips going back to that children's garden. It's also on top of the hill, the Oregon Garden Resort. That's where the big Christmas light display is every year, and that's always extremely popular. You're also going to have some weddings happening quite often in the area. That's also very popular for the spot. And Silverton also is just about an hour and a half away from the coast if you're going to be going over to Lincoln City. So you also have that not that far away for all the activities of the coast. Now for our third pro, and that is the low crime rate. And what I'll be using for a lot of this part is from niche.com. And this is the site I'll use pretty consistently to bring up statistics about different cities, just to stay consistent. And I'll also use really quick grading from OregonEssential.com, as they actually have Silverton ranked as the number 9 safest place to live in all of Oregon. Now, it gave Silverton a overall grade of B-, which might not really all seem that high, but when you look at everything, it actually does very well. Every stat is very well under both the national and state rankings, so people usually feel very welcomed. People feel safe walking around town and just generally letting their kids go ahead and just walk to school. When looking at niche.com, I definitely looked at the comments, see what people had to say, and letting people walk to school, as well as just generally walking around town, were comments that were, came up quite often. Real quickly, I'm also going to use betterplaces.net for a few safety things as well, as they have great data. Silverton's violent crime rate is 10.5, and the US average is 22.7, so that's well under the national average. Silverton's property crime rate is also 32.6, and the US average is 35.4. So it's under that as well as under many of the cities that surround it. Also, Silverton is ranked as the number 9 safest place to live in all of Oregon by OregonEssential.com. So just the general reputation of the city as well as these stats definitely go to show that if you're looking for some safety, then Silverton might be for you. I'm going to go ahead and put these links down in the description so you can go ahead and check it out for yourself. Now for the fourth pro, and that is that Silverton has excellent schools. So when looking at the district as a whole and looking at all the grades that these schools are given, they really place pretty high. Silverton High gets a grade of B+, while every other school in town pretty much gets a B. You of course in town have your public schools, but then you also have a fair amount of different charter and private schools as well. So it does seem like Silverton really has something for everybody. If you're not just looking to go public school route, you're also going to have those other options as well for you and your family if that is what you're looking for. And Silverton ranked as the number 6 best school district as a whole in Oregon by niche.com, and that's not surprising. I somehow always seem to hear about Silverton schools when the topic of schools comes up. Also, the city has a lot of pride in things like their sports and other activities, so like the arts and things. There's always a lot of support from the community. So time for our first con, and that is that it's just generally expensive. When looking at the median sales price for homes in Silverton, it definitely is more expensive. You can look at all these surrounding cities, and it's more expensive, as well as the nearest larger city, Salem. This past month of September, when looking at the median sales price of Silverton, it was $467,500, and when you're looking in Salem, it was $429,000. Now that number can fluctuate, especially based upon how many homes have actually sold. It is typically around 5 to 15 homes that sell per month. And that's kind of going over the last 6 months. The more homes that sell, it kind of gives more of accuracy, as there's just more data to go off of. Homes in town definitely seem to be maybe a little bit older, and it definitely seems to be the case on the downtown portion. And a lot of it is pretty dang well taken care of. Now of course, some could use some love, but generally I feel like things are pretty nice. Now with a lot of cities, once you get more on the outer regions, that's where you're going to find your newer homes. And you're definitely going to find that on the southern part of town as well as the west. You're going to have some of your more upscale neighborhoods, especially one being on the east part of town. And up to the east part of town, that's definitely where you're going to find some of the more larger homes. They're not going to be ranked brand new, but within the last like 30 years, and that's where some of your more expensive homes are going to be. And if you're looking for character, definitely that middle part of town, kind of around downtown is where you're going to be looking. The city kind of, to me, has a ton of character with a lot of these homes. Right to the west of downtown, you're driving through those neighborhoods. Those homes are just exquisite looking to me. Now for the second con, and that's going to be shopping. Now this is basically going to be just no big box stores. The downtown area is honestly one of my favorite places to just go for a quick walk, get a bite to eat with that view of the creek and the little shops. But when needing something like different home goods as well as clothing, got a new story about that, it's pretty lacking. I recently needed to find a pair of new clothes for one of my tiny people, and I was pretty well, scrambling around town trying to find something. Finally just made it over to Goodwill and hoped they had something in one of my kids' sizes. Had one pair of shorts, luckily, but that was pretty much it. I even typed in Google kids clothes, hoping I would find something that I wasn't aware of, and came up empty-handed. You'll pretty much be heading over to Salem for most of your bigger clothes shopping. Some people, that might not be a big deal, but if you're looking to stay kind of right in town, something to think of. Town has a lot more of those smaller boutique options and different kind of things downtown, which can be a little bit more expensive, so it doesn't kind of fit everyone's needs. You're also going to have some really cool antique shops with clothing as well. Now there are things like Wilco, which is a great thing in town. You're also going to have a Safeway and the Roths, which for a town of 10,000 is actually really good for groceries. So as far as groceries go, you're pretty dang well set. But as far as like clothing, and if you're trying to go out and buy things for your home that aren't going to be kind of in that downtown area, you know, you're going to be out there looking at Salem or maybe even driving up to Woodburn outlets. Now for our next con, you know, it comes up often with Oregon, is weather. Silverton is going to have weather much like the surrounding areas. And if you're not a fan of gray skies or wet weather, then this might end up being a downside for you. But then again, some people like this, so it might be a pro for you. But generally, most time this comes up, it's going to end up being kind of more of a con. From bestplaces.net, Silverton ends up getting 46.8 inches of rain a year. And when comparing that to somewhere, say Portland gets 42.8 inches a year. So on average, Silverton does get just a bit more rain per year. And when comparing it to how many sunny versus rainy days you're going to get, Silverton gets 157 sunny days a year. And when comparing it again to somewhere like Portland, they get on average 144 sunny days per year. Now, the US average is 205 days of sun per year. So just generally, you know, we're going to get a lot less sun. And like I said, some people, that's a pro. But usually a lot of people will kind of more view it as a con. And Silverton is right along the mountain range, so it could have something to do with it. The average snowfall for the area is right around 3 inches. You know, so those clouds kind of get sucked up into the mountain range. So it's going to give you a little bit more snow, a little more rain. So just generally the placement of the city might just cause a little bit more rain, a little bit more snow than some of the other surrounding areas. Now, Silverton really doesn't see many big weather extremes. And it actually does have a really big comfort score that's also given by bestplaces.net. So if Silverton has a comfort index of 9.3 out of 10, 10 being the highest, so it definitely shows that the area is just generally scored more comfortable as some of the surrounding areas in Oregon. So like I've said, this weather can kind of be more of a pro for you or a con, just kind of depends on what you're looking for. And our next con is a limited job market. Silverton is a little bit out of the way, so certain job availability might be kind of hard to come by when looking for a certain specialty. So all while Silverton has a very charming downtown area as well as just town in a whole, it may lack some of that diverse job availability that some people look for, and especially in some of those more specialized fields. A lot of people will end up commuting to places like Salem and these surrounding cities, which for some can be an inconvenience. But also those places really aren't all that far away, so it may not be that big of a problem for you. If you don't really view that 20, 25 minute, maybe 30 with some traffic minute drive to Salem, you know, this might not be the biggest inconvenience for you. You might not pay attention to it really at all. So pretty nearby, you're going to have a lot more job opportunities. And also you're going to have I-5 right there for easy commuting for even people that want to go up to, say, Portland area. Because even up there, you're going to have a lot of suburb areas. You're also going to have other back roads besides I-5 to be traveling both north and south to other cities. But if transportation is important to you, and say you have some family things going on where you need to be in town, this is something to definitely think about. Now, according to bestplaces.net, the overall job growth in Silverton is on the decline a little bit. It says it went down 2.8% over the past year. Like I talked about earlier, if the shopping issue, maybe having a larger store in town might help fix some of this as well. Silverton kind of being away from some of the bigger cities and having more rural cities around, as well as just people kind of living out in the country, you know, it might give more opportunities to people in this area. And that's it. These are some of the pros and cons for living in Silverton. It really is a great city. It has a lot going for it. Hopefully this video answered a few of your questions and gives you a few things to think about as well. If you got any questions or are still wondering if the city might be for you, you can go ahead and reach out to me. My information is in the description below. And you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel to get more information on what it's like to live in the Willamette Valley. And again, I'm Tyler Thomas, the East of Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the Willamette Valley and all surrounding areas, I'd be glad to be a resource for all estate needs.